Cullen, could you tell us about your health journey and how did you discover Carnivore?
Yeah, sure, Todd. Yeah, so probably about 3 years ago, when I first moved from New Zealand to Australia, living in Melbourne, I, I was feeling okay, but I would find I'd have, up and down days. You know, like could be stressed, like could feel great. My mood was quite volatile, and then I got thinking about, well, maybe it's because of what I'm consuming, all that kind of stuff. And looking back at the time, I was probably eating a very regular diet, but it's still full of a lot of ultra processed foods, a lot of sugars, and I think that kind of blood sugar roller coaster you go on a day-to-day basis, was really impacting me. So I first went into tried a ketogenic diet, and straight away, I, within the first few days, I felt better than I had done. I just, had like my mood was just really stable. I had really great energy. Yeah, and it was I felt really great, and then carried on with that probably for the first couple of months, and then kind of went on to like an animal-based kind of diet, eating more red meat, but also bringing back in some fruits and stuff like that, and that was good for a little bit. But I think for me, I am quite sensitive to the sugars and stuff like that, and I find it hard to kind of manage the amounts that you're consuming on that, to keep it in check. And then from there, I progressed into a carnivore style diet, which I've been on and off on probably for the last close to 3 years. And that's kind of go through periods, especially at the start, where you're really rigorous, you're really committed to it, and then you kind of drift off it, and then you start to feel not so good, and it kind of reminds you of why it's so important. And then fast track to probably the last 6 months, I've really cracked back down into it, and yet haven't been eating any processed foods or anything like that. Just probably close to a kilo of red meat a day. Eating eggs. And started hitting the gym about just over 3 months ago. And no experience before that, but I've been really surprised within that 3 months, putting on quite a lot of muscle, which has been great, and also kind of leaning out a little bit. But it's been it's been cool to see.
That's awesome. So who did you originally hear about Carnivore through, or did you just discover it on your own?
Yeah, so Carnivore, it was originally Paul Saladino, I think, Carnivore MD, who's not Carnivore anymore, but he was the original one that I was following. And then I think it's Dr. Anthony Chaffee, I think he's in Perth, and then a few other people on YouTube and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And what does your full day of eating look like, and how many meals are you doing?
Yeah. So a few months ago, I was more doing one meal a day, kind of fasting throughout the day, and then having one big meal in the late afternoon, evening, which was good. But I've kind of found it hard to consume enough protein in that one sitting. So now I probably have two meals a day. So first one would probably be around 11 o'clock. That's normally about 500 grams of mince, just in some burger patties. Have that at work, and then my second meal would be about 5:30, 6 o'clock, which would be probably another 500 grams, which would include maybe a steak or a couple of steaks, or some more ground beef, and then normally protein shake in the morning, and maybe one after the gym as well.
Awesome. So with So you just started weight training 3 months ago. How did you find your energies in the gym? And like, could you talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, going into it, because I hadn't really trained before, especially when I, used to be eating carbohydrates and stuff like that, I don't really have any, um, to see how it compares to that. But no, I've had no issues at all. I don't think. Yeah, I find energy in the gym is consistent. It's strong. Been seeing good progression over the time. One thing that's been really surprising is not really getting any muscle soreness after training hard, training to failure, and then the next day wake up and you feel absolutely fine. So I see a lot of people talking about muscle soreness and stuff like that on more of a regular style diet. So it's just interesting how I've found that.
Awesome. Yeah, I found my old way of eating, which was very like low fat, high protein, high
Yeah.
carbohydrate,
Yeah.
bodybuilder kind of diet. I would
Yeah.
train 2 days a week because my recovery was so slow.
Yeah.
Sessions, and I guess that also you got to factor in, stress of being a parent and like, just the stress of life that can also affect your recovery.
Yeah.
But I found on Carnivore, I can train 3 days a week. I don't get sore, and
No.
like there's a lot better as well. That's also going to help with your recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. You can recover faster, then you can go in and you can train at your maximum. Yeah. It must just be, a lot of bioavailable protein, amino acids. You got all the building blocks there to readily be able to rebuild.
Awesome. And how many days a week are you training?
Yeah. So at the moment, 4 days. When I first started, I was probably going a bit more, like 5 or 6. But as that's kind of progressed, I've committed to 4 days consistently, which is a good amount. It gives you a day or so recovery between those days, but it feels like it's a good spread.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely see like a lot of like younger guys and young PTs playing 5-6 days a week, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm making progress." I'll add in a seventh day or a sixth day. It's
Yeah.
like more in the gym is not always better. Like, and doesn't mean less days is worse. It's kind of like you got to find those days you can do consistently.
Yeah, and the recovery and the growth really happens in the days off. If you're in there every day, you're putting in the work. Your body's going to be fatigued. You're probably not going to be pushing yourself as far as you need to. So actually pulling back those days, I think a lot of people would actually be surprised on the increase, benefits they would have.
Yeah, exactly. And what sort of exercises are you doing? Like, what's your program look like?
Yeah. So I normally do like a push day, then a pull day, and then do like an upper day, and then do a leg day. And I found that to be quite effective. I find doing like a full push day, sometimes it can be hard to, be doing, all of that in one session. There can be quite a lot of sets and stuff like that. So yeah, having that upper body day as well allows you to hit some more exercises or target some areas again.
Nice. And would you normally do like 3 sets per exercise?
Yeah. So yeah, at the moment I pretty much do focus on that. So yeah, normally 3 sets per exercise, probably around 10 reps per set. I could probably need to start looking into more of the science of training and seeing whether or not there's other ways that I can train, maybe some more strength focused, higher weight, lower rep stuff. But at the moment, I found that has been just a really good base, to build from and find out what exercises, work well for me in those certain days.
Awesome. So I'll have your like before and after photos on screen, but I'm just looking at them now. You've noticed you've lost body fat in like that midsection, that oblique area. but you can see like the vascularity in your arms, your shoulders are wider. Like you've definitely lost body fat and built muscle. And everyone says in the fitness industry that's impossible.
Yeah.
So it's interesting having those bioavailable for just eggs and fatty red meat.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's been really cool to see, to actually compare those photos, because I mean at the time, like training day in day out, obviously it takes time to see the progress and stuff like that, but it's been really cool. And yeah, 100% what you're saying is totally right. I think the fitness industry, a lot of people really don't understand it. They think that dietary fat is going to make you fat. I probably get, I don't know, 70%, I don't even know, but a lot of my calories come from fat, saturated fat. And when you've got low insulin, your body can access those fat stores and utilize those. I think a lot of people, they've got high insulin from eating a lot of carbohydrates, therefore their body can't access that visceral fat, and it kind of just gets lodged there. So to them, yeah, they kind of seem to have it around the wrong way. Hopefully more people will start to understand that, having high fat, high protein diet, probably is actually beneficial.
It's interesting you say that. I'm reminded of, have you heard of Vince Gironda?
I don't know if I do know.
Okay, so he was like the original kind of Hollywood personal trainer, like back in the 60s and the 70s. He was really big. Been looking up on him. He was prescribing people, like especially like Hollywood actors, to get in shape for movie roles. People like Clint Eastwood, Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. He put them on a steak and eggs diet.
Yeah.
This is before carnivore and ketogenic diets were kind of more mainstream. And it's just fascinating. I was just so ahead of his time, because if you want to lean down quickly and build muscle, it's all about having the right nutrients, in your system.
100%. Yeah. And I think a lot of people simplify it too much. The whole idea of it's all about, if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to gain weight. But the nuance, I think, with that comes down to like insulin. Like you could be in a calorie deficit, but if someone still has a high insulin, then their body's not going to be able to access a lot of the the body fat and stuff like that. So I think it's more about metabolism, like the hormones and stuff like that actually play a much bigger role. It's not as simple or one-dimensional as it's about the amount that you eat. It's more about the macronutrient, I guess, composition, rather than just a quantity that people are eating. Yeah,
exactly. And I think the other thing you mentioned, so you want to lose fat, be in a deficit, but reality is you can't be in a deficit forever. It's like a short-term kind of phase.
Yeah.
A typical bodybuilder diet, they'll say, carbohydrates, they're like rocket fuel. You need carbs for your training. So it's like oats, egg whites, chicken, broccoli, and rice. It's a pretty bland, depressing kind of diet.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't stick 100%. To that.
No. You're not going to feel satiated, or you're always going to feel, it's a bit boring and one-dimensional. It's not realistic as a long-term thing, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that when you're on carnivore, I would say my hunger's reduced about 70%. Like I can do one meal a day, sometimes it's two, and I just don't have those cravings, that hunger anymore.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you feel satiated once you eat. Your body's getting some of the most nutrient dense bioavailable foods that are just easy to digest, that we evolved consuming for millions of years. Like no wonder we feel good when we eat like that, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely something primitive when you eat red meat. It's hard to describe. You kind of have that, like your body just kind of relaxes, and you like you should be eating more of this. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, I always find as well, like, I don't know what it is. It's particularly with like steak. It might be a placebo, I don't know. But if I have like a steak, like just eat steak for dinner. And when I wake up in the morning, I find that, you know, you just have this like buzz, you know, even if I eat like ground beef as like mince, yeah, I still feel good. But it's something about eating like a nice steak, wake up in the morning, feel like I've got this, you know, extra boost. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
It's like a power up. It's kind of hard to explain to people.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome. And how have your friends and family reacted to you being carnivore?
Yeah. I found when I lived in Melbourne, it was a little bit harder, lifestyle wise, you know, because you'd be going out quite often for meals and stuff like that. But now I've been living in Perth the last, you know, three or 4 months, and yeah, it's pretty easy over here. I mean, my housemates, they are not full carnivore, but they eat a lot of red meat. You know, every day there's red meat probably for dinner. They will eat other stuff as well, but they're still focusing on, you know, nutrient dense meats, and they're actually, I think, seeing some good results without even like training or anything like that. Like I see them slimming down a bit and stuff like that. So that's been cool to see them saying that, you know, it's making them feel better. But yeah, I find in general people are pretty interested and open to learning. You know, it can seem a bit extreme straight away to people, but you know, if they are actually really interested in it, it doesn't take them long to go, oh, that probably makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always entertaining going on Instagram and looking at people that are doing carnivore. And there's always someone in the comment section saying, "Oh, that's unsustainable.
Yeah,
That's unhealthy." And I guess if you compare it to the SAD diet, you know, the standard kind of Western diet, it may seem a bit extreme from that perspective.
yeah. But then in an evolutionary perspective, if those people compared, you know, a standard American diet to what our ancestors ate, I think our ancestors would be like, what the hell was going on here? You know?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And I guess certain times of the year, you know, gets, you know, back to like the hunter gatherer era, maybe we would have had some berries if they're seasonally available, but it wouldn't have been like every single day of the year. It would have been like a very short time of the year,
Yeah.
you know, body fat for winter to help us survive. But it wouldn't be like every single day you're going to have your 5 serves of fruit and vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't have the supermarkets back then with berries grown and flown in from all over the world with, you know, bananas and whatnot that have been, you know, bred in certain ways to, you know, be sweeter. Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of the things I was looking into recently, like looking at different populations around the world, like those whose DNA and heritage comes from places that are probably closer to the equator. Their ancestors, you know, would have consumed probably more fruit and carbohydrates, so therefore they can probably metabolize them better. But you know, if you're from, you know, European DNA or something like that, where you're, you know, closer to, you know, the colder parts of the world, you know, your ancestors wouldn't have been consuming many carbohydrates at all. And like you said, our body is programmed or designed as a survival mechanism when we do consume, you know, carbohydrates and sugars, to store those as body fat for the periods of the year when, you know, there is not an abundance of calories. But we now, you know, most people, their bodies think that, you know, it's just in that mode the whole time. It's just in storage. And yeah, it's not probably the healthiest thing to be in.
Yeah, yeah. I like how you phrase that, and I think there is an ideal amount of carbohydrates for everyone. Like maybe it doesn't carnivore exactly, but I think for me, if I eat a big carb meal, I feel like I need to have a sleep. Like it is quite relaxed, but it's like if I have to focus and get some work done, I'm gonna be like a zombie. Like I won't be able to focus.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I mean. I mean, whether someone's keto or carnivore or whatever their kind of diet is made up of, I think just like lowering the amount of carbohydrates to like an appropriate level is going to be the most beneficial. I mean, some people will do better on carnivore because they might be sensitive to certain plants and stuff like that. So for them, you know, it might be better for their gut. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, whether it's carnivore or keto, I just think, getting your body into that ketogenic state. There's so many benefits, health wise, mental health wise. It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of like research coming out, and I'm seeing these videos pop up on YouTube about people using, like, some people, there's a certain population that are immune to medication. Like, if you give them like an antidepressant, it just doesn't have any effect on certain people. But they're talking about looking at their diet and removing ultra processed foods, removing the sugar, removing the fine carbohydrates. Like, mental clarity improves, mood improves, like anxiety reduces. Like, it's fascinating.
Yeah, 100%. I think it is probably a slow change over time. It's been so indoctrinated that saturated fat is dangerous. Cholesterol is dangerous. All of these things through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and there's so much of the medical industry and doctors and stuff like that all learn through that same lens that it's going to take a while, I think, for it to permeate into the mainstream that actually they had that wrong, and there's no danger with saturated fat. You shouldn't, if you're healthy, metabolically, then there's no reason to fear cholesterol. So hopefully over time, more and more health professionals and doctors kind of, go against the grain and stand up for what they think is right. And what actually the data shows.
Yeah, definitely. Part of your like full day of eating, do you include any seafood, or do you like supplement with anything?
Yeah, supplement wise, the only supplements I really take are some like freeze dried like beef liver capsules. Try and get some organs in. So just do it through that. I'm not the biggest fan of eating liver, to be honest. It tastes pretty terrible to me. So I don't even have those every day now. I might have those a couple times a week. Other than that, I don't supplement with anything else. I used to take fish oils and vitamin D and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, I find I didn't really find any benefits, I don't think. So no, I don't really eat much fish. I'm not against eating it, but I just find easier to cook beef. If I could get some nice like wild caught fish, that would be nice. But occasionally I'll eat chicken. But once again, I just find it easier to cook steak, to cook mince, than to cook chicken and other things like that.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier. I found if you go to Coles or Woolworths, they've got these they're like in a green packet. It's called John West. They're like a wild caught. You can get salmon, mackerel. Like, I've been adding those in a couple of times a week, and I feel like that.
Yeah.
You just feel a little bit better, a little bit more energy, I guess. Like,
yeah, I actually have seen those. I might check those out. Yeah, getting some really good bioavailable omega-3s and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's hard to explain, but you actually do feel it makes a difference. Whereas before, I had the most insane like stack of supplements I was doing.
Yeah.
It was like creatine, vitamin D, fish oils, multivitamin, calcium, magnesium. Like, it just went on and on and on. And like, as you said, you don't actually feel it makes any difference. No. Like, it's beneficial. It's just kind of like you're just wasting your money, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I say with fish oil and stuff like that. Is like can be oxidized and stuff like that in those capsule forms. So I think if you can get it from a dietary source, it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking the other day, like, I think so many people take supplements and they're thinking, oh, I'm being healthy, but it's almost like it's a bit insidious because the supplement companies are kind of preying on people's, anxieties and worries about their health. And people think, oh, supplement, therefore I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Kind of got to look at the whole picture. Like, are you getting quality sleep? Are you getting sun, exercising? Like, are you eating mostly whole foods? It's like, it's the boring stuff, but that's actually what makes a big difference in the end.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many different factors. Diet's a part of it, but yeah, there's so much stuff that people can do to get the most out of life.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for your time today, Cullen. I really appreciate it.
No, it's been a pleasure, Todd. Thanks for having me back on. It's been really good.
And if people want to reach out to you, what's the best place to get in contact?
Yeah, probably maybe through what's my Instagram? Yeah, through Instagram. So it's just my name, Cullen Smith, and then just the number 9. Yeah, so they could follow me on Instagram if they wanted. I don't really post too much stuff about any health and nutritional stuff like that, but yeah, if they want to, reach out, then that'll be the best channel.
Nice, cool. Yeah, I'll leave a link to your social media in the description of the video. People can check it out.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Cool. And yeah, all your content's been looking really great. All your different podcasts and stuff like that. So that's really exciting to see.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I've been very lucky. Got to speak to some amazing people with these incredible stories, and it's like,
yeah,
I feel like it should be front page news. People should be talking about it, but it's almost like the narrative is that, oh, that's unhealthy, that's extreme. Yeah. But people having these amazing transformations, like, mental health, or in your case, your body transformation, or they've put diabetes into remission. Like, yeah, I think like the more we talk about it, the more it gets out there. I think it's going to help more people.
100%. Yeah. No, it's great that you're doing your part to move this along. So that's amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
All right. Thanks so much, Cullen.
Pleasure. Thanks, Todd.